Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started since we have a lot of people to hear from today. So thanks everyone for being here. My name is Paris Cotz, and I work in the Office of Arts and Design and Discovery here at UC Berkeley. Our office works with 140 plus departments, centers, student clubs on campus to fortify the arts and design for undergraduate exploration in the creative realm. So a little bit about what our office does. Our office hosts weekly cross-campus conversations, student experiences like career events, sponsored events and conferences, and info sessions, and much more. Next slide. Our website, which you can see at the right-hand corner, features art and design related jobs, internships, events, classes we sponsor, grants, scholarships, and fellowships on and off campus, and other general resources. We also host something called the Berkeley mobile app called the Arts Passport. So if you have the Berkeley mobile, which is the official campus mobile app, I know there's a few campus apps, but if you go to the Arts Passport on the Berkeley mobile app, you'll soon be able to find tickets to places like SF MoMA and hopefully some performing arts venues once they figure out their fall COVID protocols. So I encourage you to check that out this fall. So we at Arts and Design divide everything into 5 categories: visual arts, performing arts, literature, film and media, and design. And here on these slides, you can see examples of some of the academics, resources, and ways of connecting in those 5 fields. Of course, there's so much more, and we're going to hear a bit more about those resources today from the wonderful people joining us, who I'll introduce now. So first we'll hear from Professor Jill Miller, who's a professor in the Department of Art Practice and also runs a space called Platform. Then we'll hear from Katie Fleming, who is the educational coordinator for the Hearst Museum of Anthropology. And they'll be sharing the resources and opportunities for you at their museum. And then we'll hear from Tyshawn Rogers, who is the student advisor for Jacobs Institute for Design Innovation. And he'll be sharing about all the maker spaces, courses, and everything else Jacobs has to offer. And finally, we'll be hearing from Ariel Feinberg Berson, who works at the ASUC Student Union, which houses things like the Berkeley Art Studio and a few more other creative spaces for extracurricular engagement in the arts. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll ask Jill if you want to go ahead and start. And thanks for being here, everyone.
Okay, can you see my shared screen and hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to meet you. And thank you so much, Paris, for organizing this event and helping bring everyone together. So what you're looking at right now, actually, let me introduce myself. I'm a professor in art practice. I'm also appointed in the Berkeley Center for New Media. And my area of focus is public art and community engagement. So my research space is really what you're looking at right here. So, you know, in the same way that a chemistry professor would have a lab, my lab is actually a public art space. And this is a picture of it here. And Platform Artspace is a part of art practice, and it's located in the southern courtyard of Bauer Worcester Hall. And it's also, there's a little map on the platformart.space website. So if you're interested in coming to see us, that'd be great. I'll show you a schedule in just a second. And what we focus on is connecting the community. So, you know, we want to bring students from across all different majors and disciplines together. And this space is largely run by students. So students have a lot of agency. And one of the projects that we're currently working on is called the Food Art Bank. And this just launched yesterday. And basically this is a complement. It's working in a complementary way to the Basic Needs Center food pantry, which I hope you all know about. It's a really wonderful resource on campus. And so the food pantry gives a lot of food away, and they're very good at it. But what we're doing is teaching students how to cook with the food, and we're offering, say, free coffee in exchange for a poem, or writing up some sort of like response to a question. And because we just launched, as you can see, we have 7 Instagram posts. I know, hold on, that's a lot. And here's the schedule for the week. So every week you'll see a schedule for what we're doing. Yesterday, we had an undergrad student who is also a chef at the Hillel House. She came and made lentil stew. And then, so she did a cooking demo, and then we offered students a bag of groceries that we got from the Berkeley Food Network, which supplies the food pantry. And everything that she used was in that bag. So students could take the bag and go home and then make it themselves. Today, actually right now, we have another student doing a wellness movement event where we have one student DJing and the other student is leading students through some kind of relaxation and breathing techniques to de-stress. And then tomorrow we have the Plant Cafe, which I personally feel super excited about. We had some plants donated from a local grower. So we have basil, we have other edible plants, and we're giving those away. And students can take a plant, have a cup of coffee, and connect and share conversation and talk about art. And then also tomorrow night, some students organized a film screening, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Let's see, let me show you some more images. So also, if you can see, and I'll drop it into the chat, foodartbank.org is where, once we are up and running a bit more, like this is our first week, we're doing, some tests. We'll have our Instagram feed actually just like populating content on the page. But I just wanted to show you that this is a student-run program. Actually, students can get between 1 and 4 credits as an internship for working there. And these are some of our students that are like the kind of leaders in the space. Kala was the person that did the cooking demo. And let me show you a couple more images of that. So this is what I just showed you, and this is what you'll find on our Instagram. So whether you follow Food Art Bank or UCB platform is just the space where the Food Art Bank is located. You'll find this schedule there, and we'll put it out every Sunday. Here's an image of an undergraduate student running the food demo, which is great. It was actually super delicious food, which I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about how it would taste. These are a couple of our really incredible interns. And this is our food pantry. So we have a little tiny food pantry. We also have bags for students if someone comes in. This is a colleague getting some free coffee. And okay, how do you find the space? That's been a challenge. So you can see Bauer Worcester Hall in the background of this image. And, if I would say go to the courtyard, but there are probably like 6 courtyards in this building. But we're in the southernmost courtyard, which is the courtyard that literally faces Bancroft. So if you can get to Bancroft and you can get to Bauer Worcester Hall, you'll see our sign, and we're right inside the courtyard. So right near the bicycle racks, there's an entrance. And that is, I mean, that's mainly, what I have to show you. The kinds of things that we do. We have a grad student who's an artist in residence. We host movie nights, we host events, and we kind of pride ourselves on being really open to students, and especially extending, a welcome to students of color, students who are queer, students who have disabilities. We really feel like we want to open the doors and not just say accommodate students with different abilities, but really make the place welcoming and open. I'm very active in the disability community because I have a child with a disability. So it feels like really personal and important to me. So I just want to say that, like, this is a kind of area of pride that we have, that we want this space to represent the arts for students who may not have felt welcome or may not have felt safe in another space. And this is your space. And so that's all I have. I guess, Paris, are we taking questions after, or?
Yeah, I think we'll take questions at
Okay.
the end. Thanks, Jill. So next up, we'll hear from Katie Fleming.
Thanks so much, Jill. I'm super excited to hear about that space, and I've been on campus for quite a while, and so I'm delighted. I've been peeking through the slats of that space for years, and I'm thrilled to see it active, and would love to talk more later and hear more later about how you and others work to transform that space on campus, and remind everyone who's in this room that the power that you have as a student or a visitor or staff member or faculty member or staff or just member of the Berkeley community is that the campus is always changing and you can be a part of changing it. And that's really, so that was a long intro. My name is Katie Fleming. I'm the gallery manager and education coordinator at the Hearst Museum of Anthropology, which, if we're trying to imagine physical spaces on campus, you're on Bancroft, you're looking at Platform, which is off to your right. The Hearst Museum is in the Anthropology and Art Practice building, which is going to be to your left in that same kind of courtyard space area on the southeast corner of the Berkeley campus. So a little bit about me before I dive into the Hearst Museum. I'm a Cal alum. I went to Berkeley. I studied anthropology and gender and women's studies, and I graduated in 2012 and actually started working at the Hearst Museum as my work study position, which I can talk more a little bit about in a minute if you're not familiar with work study. Outside of my work at Berkeley, I'm a roller skater. I ride my bike all around town. I'm a big museum nerd and visit lots of other museums. And as the only museum representative that's in the space right now, I also want to shout out all the other great institutions that are at Berkeley. So if you're interested in museums, it's not just the Hearst Museum, it's the Berkeley Art Museum and Pacific Film Archive. It's the number of natural history museums that don't have public exhibit space, but also have collections that are available to you as researchers or for artistic inspiration or just out of curiosity. And there's also the campus gardens, including the UC Botanical Garden. All of these spaces are available to you as students for whatever you can imagine doing with them. And part of the public institution that is UC Berkeley. So I really recommend you take advantage of those resources while you're here. Back to me, I'm from LA originally. I had been living up in Oakland for the past 13 years, and now I'm back down in LA working remotely at the moment. And I also will apologize, I'm a former camp counselor and field trip leader. So if I go a little like teacher voice on you, that's where that's coming from. So the Hearst Museum has a public exhibit space that's not open at the moment, but will be open again in the future. And when we have public exhibits, it's free for students. You can come in at any time and see rotating exhibits on a variety of themes, as well as some permanent objects that are on view. The museum as a whole, though, has, you can kind of imagine our exhibit space as like the tip of the iceberg. There's a small number of collections that are on view with interpretive information telling you about where they are, people's stories, where they came from, how they got to UC Berkeley. But the collection as a whole comprises almost 4 million individual objects from every inhabited continent around the world. So if there's anything that humans have done or touched or changed, the Hearst Museum probably has something related to that history and contemporary practice. And I'll show you in a minute how you can find out what kinds of resources the Hearst Museum has, and what the Hearst Museum is actively doing with them and how they're making them available to descendant communities and to the public right now. So this is, if we're imagining the tip of the iceberg, this, what you saw, is above the surface, and this is below the surface. So the Hearst Museum has storage spaces like other museums that are available by request for research, again, for artistic inspiration, for descendant communities to connect with, or for any other kind of reasons for people to visit with these collections that are stored safely and preserved for the future. These are a couple of the storage spaces that the Hearst Museum has that you can kind of imagine what goes on behind the scenes and get involved if you're interested. And the Hearst Museum does all kinds of things with these collections and with these physical spaces. So I got involved originally as I mentioned, in a work study role. So part of my funding for my financial aid was that I could get a job at Berkeley through the work study program and have it partially funded by the museum and partially funded through my financial aid package. So if that's something that you have available to you, I highly recommend you take advantage of it. There's great opportunities to get experience at Berkeley. That opened the door for me to become a museum preparator, which meant that I helped pack and ship and build mounts and exhibit materials for the museum behind the scenes. And I did that for a number of years before moving into the role that I'm in now. The museum is primarily a research collection. So people come from all over the world to visit with materials from their own background, to study archaeological material from the ancient past, or to engage with the materials for many other reasons, from spiritual to artistic to anything else you can imagine. We sometimes do behind the scenes tours, so you can see things that are not regularly on view. So feel free to reach out and ask me more about that later if that's something you're interested in. We host events for the public, ranging from food and drink events to academic lectures to, I kind of jumped ahead. Here's academic lectures, and there's also opportunities for students to conduct their own research. We have an active team of students creating 3D models of objects in the collection to make them more digitally accessible for researchers and artists and individuals around the world. We have a field trip program that a lot of students are involved with helping out with for sixth graders around the Bay Area learning about ancient civilizations, as well as professional development programs for teachers to encourage them to teach with primary sources beyond texts and figure out how to incorporate that into their classroom practice. And we also host collaborative events with community members that are co-hosted at the museum, and archival access for artists and researchers to work with materials from the collection. I mentioned that there are digital resources available online. Obviously, we're here connecting on Zoom, and that's still a way that a lot of us are able to get access to collections and to information and resources that we otherwise might not. So we're building our collection of 3D models of objects that are accessible online. I'll drop the link in the chat in a minute to our online collections portal, where everything is searchable, and you can view photographs of physical objects, or also view part of the collections are not just physical material objects, but also video and sound recordings of language and story. And so you can access much of that online. And we're working to create a space in the museum that is not just for the museum to share their museum voice of what these collections mean and are, but to democratize the space and hear from the community what these collections mean for them and what their role should be in the future. And the museum is actively involved in repatriation at the moment. That's our primary focus. And the reason that the museum is not open to the public right now is because we are engaged in the practice of returning collections to the communities from which they came, so that these communities can do with them what feels best for their own culture and practice and traditions. There's a bunch of opportunities for students. Because the museum is not open to the public right now, some of these are limited, but I expect more of them to become available in the spring semester and in the future. You can conduct your own research or use the collections for your own artistic and design inspiration. There's a really robust textile collection that I think is not super well known and has been of kind of perennial interest to artists who are looking for inspiration and more information about technique and method. There's undergraduate research apprenticeship opportunities to work behind the scenes in collections or to work with specific staff members on their own research projects, or opportunities to volunteer if you're not interested in or not needing to get class credit for your involvement with the museum. And as I mentioned, there's work study opportunities to get paid and get work experience with the museum itself as well. And then of course, there are frequent events at the Hearst Museum and at other museums, online lectures, online workshops for the immediate future, and then a return to events in the coming months and years. So that's all I have. I'll drop my email in the chat as well if you want to get in touch, as well as the link to the Hearst Museum's website so you can read a little bit more about some of what I mentioned. And I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Tashawn, are you next in line? I already forgot the order.
Yes, I'm next. All right, share screen. Okay, can everyone see the slide?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, I'm Tashawn Rogers. I'm the Student Services Advisor at the Jacobs Institute for Design and Innovation. We are located a block up from North Gate in the engineering cluster of buildings. I primarily work on course enrollment and sort of building scheduling and sort of liaisoning with student clubs and how students sort of engage with the entire space here at Jacobs Hall. And I also sort of administer the Berkeley Certificate in Design and Innovation, which is a certificate program that's meant to allow for students from all academic backgrounds to learn about design from a multidisciplinary approach. It's a very sort of small program in that it's not very intensive as far as the number of requirements are concerned. There's 4 courses that are part of it, but nonetheless, if you want to know more about that, we'll drop in some links and stuff like that towards the end of it, and you can always reach out to me about it. But let's get going on what Jacobs has to offer for students in general. All right. Okay, so Jacobs Hall is an interdisciplinary campus hub for hands-on team-based learning at the intersection of human-centered design and emerging technology. And here you can see a picture of Jacobs Hall. Some of the organization of the space has changed since we've come back from the pandemic. And I'll go into detail about that, but we have 4 floors within the building, and the building serves as a teaching space and also incorporates a makerspace throughout the building. So there are different labs, and we have a main open floor as a makerspace and multiple labs throughout the building. So Jacobs is, first and foremost, we are the people that engage here at Jacobs, from the instructors to the students, to the courses, to the public in general who sort of engage with our programming, et cetera. It all sort of happens throughout the building. And here you can see some photos from our design showcase where student groups are presenting projects from a number of different courses at the end of the semester. And then we have some shots of general sort of classroom activity and some engagement with the general public. So here, the place, you can see some of our spaces in the top left-hand corner. You can get a visual of our top floor, room 310, which has like a capacity of 130 people. This room is used as a teaching space. We also do sort of public events, speaking engagements. We also allow for students to utilize the space for a number of different student events. And in the top right-hand corner, you can see our sort of woodworking area in our first floor makerspace. And I'll talk a little bit more about how the makerspace access works for students. And at the bottom here, you have another sort of area of our makerspace on the first floor. And to right-hand corner at the bottom, you have a little look at one of our teaching studios. And as you can see, they're doing some sort of prototyping here. Okay, and also we are the projects. We host a number of different projects. You can find them on our website, et cetera, but most of the courses that I teach at Jacobs are project-based and hands-on. And so ultimately, a number of different projects emerge out of the courses that are being taught at Jacobs. And so at the end of the semester, we always have a design showcase where all the courses that are participating at Jacobs and teaching in the space are invited to present during a 2-day showcase, and anyone's allowed to come. It's open to the public, and each course will probably have about 90 minutes or so to present their final projects for the semester. All right, and with the pandemic, a lot of our services were in person, especially our sort of makerspace. The pandemic forced us to, be resilient and make change quickly. And we transitioned to bringing a number of our prototyping services online. And so now I believe, with the ability to sort of actively engage with students in person now, but also sort of have this online component, we can ultimately reach out to a broader swath of the Berkeley community and serve students in the best way possible for them at any given moment. So I will talk a little bit more about our online services quickly. Student resources. So we have a range of student resources available at Jacobs. And so our resources are essentially available for students from all majors and different academic backgrounds. Students can sort of kind of pick a la carte from a menu of resources. So first and foremost, we have coursework. At Jacobs Institute, we develop courses under the design innovation moniker. You can find it like in the academic guide under College of Engineering. However, there are no prereqs for design innovation courses. We do have like enrollment holds, et cetera, and stuff like that, but they are open and designed specifically to be multidisciplinary in their pedagogy. So students from all sort of academic backgrounds and majors are welcome to sort of enter into these courses, enroll, and sort of learn design from the ground up through a number of different lower level and then upper level courses in design and innovation. We also host a number of different design courses from all types of departments across the campus. So we have design courses that are mechanical engineering, that are from the Haas School of Business, from College of Environmental Design, Architecture, and then we also have courses, design courses from art practice, from theater, et cetera, that operate in the building. So students, ultimately, if you're sort of in a design course, you might engage with Jacobs one way or the other through a course that's being offered in the building. And from there, we offer a number of different sort of student group support. So a lot of design student clubs sort of operate in Jacobs. And so a lot of our services are geared to sort of help them facilitate their goals. And so we, first and foremost, we offer meeting space in the building. And that usually happens in afternoon. We also support a number of different design decals. So for student groups who are who also run decals, we host generally about 8 to 10 different decals per semester. And so these are really good ways for students to take pass, no pass, sort of low stakes courses to sort of pick up some technical skills. So whether you want to learn Illustrator and Photoshop, or we have another sort of decal on graphic design principles, or if you were thinking more broadly about design and wanted to take a decal for human-centered design methods, there's a range of sort of skill sets that you can pick up in that environment. It's a great way for students who are interested in design, but sort of unsure of where they want to start or wanting to pick up some very specific technical skills to sort of do so. So those decals are generally hosted within Jacobs, and they are supported by Jacobs resources. We also provide individual student support through a number of different sort of engagements and programs. You can sort of find that through our sort of makerspace and our design specialists who are there to sort of help you through sort of any project or any sort of questions you may have. You can sort of book time with them. We are also available for advising. Me as a student service advisor, I also have a colleague, Amy Dinh, who's in student services. You can book either of us at any given time that's available on our schedule. If you have any sort of questions about courses, about the makerspace, about how to sort of engage with student clubs and events, you can contact us, and we'll be able to guide you in your journey. So mentorship and advising is sort of a part of that. We do also have engagement through our sort of Jacobs mentors via a number of different sort of outcomes that you may have access to. So we have a number of different grant programs where we provide mentorship if you are selected to be a part of the grant program. And then we have a number of different events that are sort of like student focused and public and open to the general public at the same time. So for instance, we have talks called Design Conversations, which are bigger, broader talks open to the public in general about 3 times a semester. We'll bring professional designers or people who just work in the design space in general to give broad focus, talks here at Jacobs. We also have a series, and this is a pretty good way to sort of get a feel for design if you are just generally interested. But we have a series called Design Innovation 95 field notes, where we give about 10 or so smaller talks throughout the semester. And you can either sign up for the class as a 1 credit pass, no pass, or you could just drop into the Zoom link and check out the talks that you want to check out throughout the semester. And these talks are specifically focused on professional designers or people working in the design space in the General Bay area. So it runs the gamut from UX designers to people who work in physical product design all over the sort of Bay Area. So these are really good sort of entry points for students to sort of to engage. And then finally, we have the Makerspace access. And the Makerspace is really a main feature in that is sort of like the ecosystem that sort of connects everything. So the coursework, the student groups and clubs that sort of operate out of Jacobs, the courses essentially are sort of chosen because they ultimately, through their sort of coursework and projects, et cetera, utilize the Makerspace. So the Makerspace is sort of fabrication sort of lab where you can learn how to use learn a number of different fabrication techniques through a number of different machines available in the space. So for instance, we have a general Makerspace area that has a number of different laser cutters, 3D printers, that has woodworking area, that has a wide range of sort of CNC machines. And we train you on how to use all of these. We don't require you to have any sort of technical background training on this. It all depends on what you would like to sort of learn and become an expert on. We have a metal shop, advanced 3D printing lab, electronics lab. So the way it generally works is students can sign up for MakerPass access. There's a number of different tiers. And when you do sign up, you'll sort of find out, what tier you sort of fall into. And we do offer financial aid. So if you do receive financial aid, then you'll be eligible for a fee waiver in the process. But ultimately, there's no sort of barrier to your access based on your experience or know-how. Once you're signed up, you can sign up for the online trainings, and then we do in-person trainings. So even if you want to learn something like TIG welding, we will walk you through that process if you have no sort of background in it. And so now with the online features of the Makerspace, you can go to our website, and I will just drop a bunch of links in the chat, once we're done. But you can go to our website. You can find our online tutorial services. We have sort of virtual workshops, and we have what we call JPS, which is our online sort of fabrication services. You can pick the machine online, and you can submit files and jobs to be fabricated by our design specialists or our student supervisors, and then you can come and pick up. So that's ultimately what sort of emerged out of the pandemic and what you can still access now. So if you don't need to make a trek all the way to Jacobs Hall and sit in the Makerspace and work on something, you can submit online and pick up at your convenience. So that's about it really quickly. So we've gone through a bit of our back to school activities already. Tomorrow we have a drop-in building tour, which is from 4 to 5. So if you want to see the space physically, you can stop by tomorrow at 4 to 5. On Friday, there's a Berkeley Certificate in Design Innovation info session. I'll drop a link to that in the chat. And then there's also a campus makerspace crawl where we take you to other makerspaces across the campus just to introduce you to those spaces. Our speaker events, we have some upcoming speaker events, which you can find on our website. I'll drop a link to, and Makerspace access is still open for registration. So you can still go onto our website and try to register for the MakerPass. We also have a community MakerPass application, which is still open, and JPS, which is our online Makerspace feature, is still ongoing. All right. Yeah, and here is a bunch of links, to how to contact us. That's my email, that's Amy's email. You can always send things to the general Jacobs email, and definitely check out the website and join our mailing list. And that's about it. All right.
Great, thank you. And next up, our final speaker will be Ariel. If you want to take it away, do you want me to share my screen?
I can share. Let's see. Let's see here. Actually, if you could share, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. I might be able to. Oh, I got it now.
You got it?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, good. I was just slow. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to talk about creative programs at the Student Union. My name's Ariel Feinberg Berson, and I'm the Assistant Director of Creative Programs. And we have 3 programs that I want to talk about today. The Berkeley Art Studio, the Creative Lab, and the Publications and Media Center, which are all located in the Student Union in the MLK complex. So actually, before I launch into the Art Studio, I just want to show you a little map here. You can see the Berkeley Art Studio is at the far end of the Student Union. If you're at the Golden Bear Cafe and you take a left and go down that ramp, we're right underneath the Golden Bear Cafe, right before the Sather Gate. And then inside the Student Union, on the first floor, kind of down past the bookstore, we have our Creative Lab and the Publications and Media Center, that little star there. So the Berkeley Art Studio offers co-curricular art classes. Students sign up for multi-week sessions. We have ceramics, we have a darkroom here, we have drawing and painting, printmaking, and then design classes as well. And right now our building is open. We do have our ceramics classes and drawing and painting classes on site. Still, we have some of our design classes online, some of our drawing and painting classes online as well. So here you can see some drawing classes happening. We also use the art practice and anthropology building for some of our drawing and painting classes. We have figure drawing in the art practice and anthropology building, same building as the Hearst Museum. And we have some of our larger acrylic and oil painting classes there. One of the great things about the Berkeley Art Studio classes is that they're open to students, but also faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. So it really functions as a community art space. And we're open 7 days a week. So there's always folks kind of coming in and out, using the space, particularly for ceramics. We have digital photography classes, and we have one of the only open dark rooms in the East Bay at this point, which students really enjoy having the opportunity to use. And then we have printmaking, both block printing and screen printing. And then we have our creative lab. So the Berkeley Art Studio runs its design and digital photography classes out of the creative lab, though at the moment they are online, but we do have a space in the Student Union. And then in addition, the creative lab serves as a print and design space where we offer services. So we offer design services for campus departments or orgs, and we also offer printing services. So if you wanted to get a poster printed for an event or to have up in your building, that sort of thing, we provide those services in the Student Union. We also received funding from the Student Technology Fund. So we do our design and digital photography classes, but basically anything that's digitally focused or technology focused. We do offer scholarships for EOP eligible students and also graduate students who do want to apply for those scholarships. Those are available. So here are some of the services that we offer: logos, business cards, flyers. And then in addition to our classes and these services, we also offer a lot of free programs. So we have a program called Craft or Dark once a month in the Student Union where we just do free crafting. And then in addition, oh, for some reason my screen is not moving forward here.
Try clicking it maybe, or is that not working either? There you go.
Yep, but I went too far forward. Let's try go back again. Sorry about that. So in addition, we also have what we like to call we have an art cart and a screen printing bike that we bring out for free events. So once a week in the Student Union, we will have free crafting. We'll roll out our art cart full of art supplies. and give students a chance to just take a break, do some crafts. And then we do have our screen printing bike that we tend to bring to larger campus events, screen printing up bags, posters, that sort of thing. And then new this year, we are overseeing the Publications and Media Center, which is also located in the Student Union. So the PMC is really a hub for all of the publications and media student orgs on campus, of which there are hundreds. So the space is actually a rentable space. Cal TV uses it, Innovative Design uses the space as well, but other student groups can use the space. So it's a space that can be used by student groups to have meetings. And then we also have an equipment checkout program for film and photography equipment. And, you know, we're really trying to provide services to the publications and media orgs on campus. So also the PMC distributes publications throughout the campus so that they're made more accessible to the campus community. So just a little more information about using the space in the PMC. And then in addition, the PMC also offers a student design consultant who can work first and foremost with design and with publications, campus publications, student publications, but also any student groups who want design support. The students are there to help them with that as well. And then the PMC holds events for media-oriented groups, typically once or twice a year as well. And that's it. We actually we're in the process of hiring for some positions within the Creative Lab and the Publications and Media Center. Yeah, check us out. And as I say, we are open for ceramics classes, which you see here, for some of our drawing and painting classes, and then we're continuing to offer some of our classes online for those who prefer outdoor classes this fall as well. Plein air painting outside and a few of our printmaking classes as well. So here's some of our information so you can learn more. And if you are interested in registering for a class or getting involved, you can sign up directly through our website, which I can drop in the chat as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Ariel. Thanks to all of our presenters. There's a lot of information there. Does anyone have any questions for any of us? Or anything they'd like to say? Feel free to unmute yourself or type it in the chat. If there are no questions, that's okay too. I think everyone shared their emails, so you can feel free to email any of us if you have any other questions. All right, well, thanks everyone, and thanks to our speakers today. This event will be recorded and posted on the Arts Design website. Here, oops, hold on. And yeah, feel free to email any of us, and thanks everyone. Good luck this semester.
Thanks for organizing, Paris.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.